Well, Carlos, it's really nice to catch up with you, and I trust you're keeping well during this hot time of the year.
Indeed, I know. Thanks for your time, Rod. It's really good to have a talk to you. And we always expect summer to come. So yeah, I'm trying to enjoy as much as I can.
Good, good. Well, Carlos, as you're aware, every year we survey our global network. So we ask our partners around the world a series of questions, really to understand the quality of the network, the sense of family and teamwork, and how we're collectively delivering on our promise of value to clients. And well, on our last survey, participants expressly noted that you were a great global tax advisor and a great team member to work with on global teams. Well done, Carlos. Well done.
Thanks. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. But first, tell us a little bit about your background, where you're based, what your practice is, things like that.
Sure. So I'm a tax partner of the international tax team of KPMG Brazil. I've been with the firm for over 12 years now, and I've worked most of my time in Brazil. But for the last 3 years, I've been based out of London, where I lead the Brazilian desk in the UK and Europe, where I try to support our clients and the member firms in the region with respect to projects that involves Brazil.
Nice. So that's quite a change in scenery then, Brazil to the UK.
Indeed.
Tell us a little bit about your philosophy, how you approach working on global teams to help clients solve their most complex issues.
Sure. I mean, if you think about it, Rodney, Brazil is a major recipient of foreign direct investment, and it has always been. So we always have, if you think that the global firm, we have multinational clients across the globe. So many of those clients, they have some sort of presence in Brazil. So being part of the international tax team in Brazil is really good because you have a constant flow of projects coming from the network, from multinational clients. So there's always an international element to most of our projects in Brazil, I would say. So working with the network, working with international teams, it's actually, let's say, a constant part of our job in the Brazilian firm. And in terms of philosophy, I think the best thing is to try to learn how, let's say, the tax systems of other countries operate to try to explain Brazil to them, because Brazil is very unique in many senses. We have a very challenging tax environment, and not always, let's say, local tax advisors, they really understand what the client or what the member firm is asking for, because they learn everything from their local background in Brazil. So when I manage to, and that's the beauty of being part of the KPMG firm, that you get to talk to many people. I had the opportunity to do a LLM outside Brazil. So when you learn, let's say, the international tax environment more, you learn actually what the questions refer to, and you better understand, the background of your client or the member firm. And I think that helps in providing them with a good tax advice, I would say.
So, of course, Carlos, that's really interesting, right? People ask questions based on their own lived experiences, and they may just not really know what sorts of questions to ask. So being able to anticipate and sort of think beyond the narrow question is really important in this
for sure. Way. And I've seen many cases actually when I understand the question, but I've seen other advisors providing the wrong answer because they didn't really get the question in the first place because of, let's say, the local experience, that we might not have a similar concept, we might not have the same kind of system. So that happens actually very often, I would say.
Interesting. And Carlos, if you had any tips, advice, words of wisdom for people who are either starting to work on global teams or perhaps are already doing so and want to be even better in those teams, what would that advice be?
Yeah, as I said, again, try the best to understand, the background from where the question is coming from, as we just discussed. That will certainly help. And I think if you are part of the member, a specific member firm, is really also treating the network as one of your preferred clients, I would say. I mean, as I said, for Brazil, that was an effort that really paid off because we have a lot of global projects coming from all different countries around the globe. And again, when you treat the member firms and the network as a good client, as an important client, that's certainly something that helps you. And of course, every country has its particularities, its specifics. And as the more you work, the more you learn, and you become a better advisor. I think if you get more projects from different countries, you learn the culture, you learn the differences. So I think it's just a never. You keep learning. It's constant. So you get better every time, I would say.
Well, really interesting, Carlos. Really great advice there. I was hearing, like, keep on learning, treating everyone on the team like your best client, how you'd like to be treated. Just really good advice. Well, Carlos, I'd like to thank you for your time. And again, just congratulations on being called out specifically as one of our great global team members. And I really hope you managed to stay cool during this hot European time in London.
Thanks for your time, Rod. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I'll do my best to keep cool.
Okay, thanks.